Welcome to the Entrepreneur Mind podcast, where transform your mindset from consuming to producing. I'm your host, Zen Flint.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur Mind podcast. I'm your host, Zen Flint. Today I'm delighted to have Mr. Ernesto Sirolli from Italy. He is serial entrepreneur, social entrepreneur, and mostly does business helping the people around the world. And recently he went to Africa to do the social work projects, social entrepreneurship. And welcome to the show, Mr. Ernesto.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. Can you share with us a little bit more what you do and about your background?
Sure. Well, first of all, let me tell you my age so that the people listening will have an understanding of how long I have been doing this for. I was born in 1950 in Italy, and in 1971 I started to work in Africa for a non-government organization, an NGO. And since 1971, I have been exposed to the issue of Africa development and also the problems of international aid and cooperation. So in 1978, after starting a PhD in South Africa, I went to Australia, and I lived in Australia for 19 years, and now I live in California, and I've been in California in America for 16 years. I have written 2 books on my experiences. The first book is about the experience in Africa, and is titled Ripples from the Zambezi. And the second book is about what I have learned working with entrepreneurs, working with people who have been trying to help themselves. And the second book is titled How to Start a Business and Ignite Your Life. And it's all about transforming your own passion into a way of making a living. So this a little bit about the background, and I guess for people who would like to see me presenting, recently I was invited to have one of my videos on the TED Talk, and you may be wanting later on to describe to your audience how to find my TED Talk. But basically, the TED Talk is a 17-minute video that has gone viral on the internet, and I have had so far 1.3 million viewers between the TED site and YouTube. And I have to say that the TED Talk has put me in touch with even more entrepreneurs, even more young people who want to start their own businesses and they don't know how to do it.
Yes, it is wonderful presentation. That's how I discovered you, and I was very impressed, and I love it, every information and the presentation. Also, it's going to be linked to the website where we're going to put up this interview, so all the listeners can check out on the website as well. It's going to be linked back to the YouTube TED Talk presentation that you gave.
Thank you. That's fantastic.
Yes. Mr. Ernesto, so what's entrepreneurship means to you?
Well, it's very, very interesting that if you look at books on entrepreneurship, no book of entrepreneurship has the same definition of entrepreneur. And I've been studying this for many, many years, and every single book on entrepreneurship has a different definition of who is an entrepreneur, what makes an entrepreneur. And so I became very curious because in my language, which is Italian, we have a word that is identical. The Italian word is intraprendente. And I was really confused because the Italian word intraprendente has not anything to do with business. And so I was thinking, how come the French word entrepreneur, that is so similar to the Italian word intraprendente,
but two different meanings.
Yeah, how come the French has such a business meaning and the Italian word doesn't? So what I went to see what was the origin of the French word, and the origin of the French word is the same origin of the Italian word. So, and it's Latin. So I went to find out what the Latin word meant. And the Latin word is intraprendere, and the Latin word literally means the one who, among others, gets it first.
It's pretty interesting.
So, in both languages, in Italian, intraprendente means somebody who has guts and vision. And when I looked at the English story, because remember the word entrepreneur is not an English word. They took it from the French, but the French took it from the Latin. So when I went to find out when was the word introduced into England, in English, I discovered that the word entrepreneur was appeared only once in English books, only once in 1460. And in that English book, the word entrepreneur was used to describe someone who was an entrepreneur in battle.
Wow.
So the word entrepreneur in 1460 was exactly like the Italian word, somebody who has vision and courage in battle. So then the word disappeared from English, the English language, and reappeared in 1860 from the French as somebody who is good at business or somebody who's interested in business. But my idea is that entrepreneur is someone who has vision and courage, not only in business, but for instance in social enterprises, for instance in the media. Probably you are an entrepreneur in the media because you see an opportunity where nobody else saw an opportunity, and you are using media in a very different way. So maybe there are entrepreneurs in arts, and maybe there are entrepreneurs in culture, maybe there are entrepreneurs in fashion, maybe there are entrepreneurs in education. And so this is what is of interest to me. When you talk about social entrepreneurship, you are dealing with people who see an opportunity that nobody else has seen, but whether it is for money or for social good is not important. You are still an entrepreneur. So I think we should repossess the word and use entrepreneur in this absolutely beautiful, beautiful meaning, which is the one who, among others, gets it first. You could have a friend who is an entrepreneur because he discovered something, for instance, in education that nobody else really saw. And because of that, he can become a very good teacher. So you don't have to make money for being an entrepreneur. The only thing that you have to do is to see an opportunity that nobody has seen, to be the first to see something and to go and get it.
Beautiful, beautiful. I really like the idea. And for me, it's how I understand entrepreneurship is being able to create something out of nothing, or being able to solve a problem and find a solution as a service or good.
Yeah, well, you see, again, it's about the first one to get it, somebody who has the guts to go there, the courage, the courage and the vision. So what your belief of entrepreneurship is very, very close to the correct definition. See, entrepreneur is not greed is good. Entrepreneur is not somebody who's a middleman. Entrepreneur is not somebody who is a pimp. That's not an entrepreneur. To be the middleman and to maybe make money out of, robbing to people, to be the middleman, that's not to be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur has a quality. Entrepreneur is someone who has exactly the way you describe it, is the very first one to get it, is the one who see an opportunity there. So it's more than the money side, is much more than that. Is a noble thing. And the entrepreneurs are the people who invent the world, because the entrepreneurs are constantly finding solutions to the problems of the world. Without the people with guts and vision, we will still be in the caves. It takes something to be able to conceive a way of making fire anytime you want fire, to look at different way of building boats to be able to move across oceans. There is always something very, very smart about the entrepreneur.
Willing to take a risk, calculated risk.
Yeah, the other thing is about the risk is for the entrepreneur, what they do is so driving them that they don't see the risk. Is that it is like the people who've been in an accident and they have helped somebody to come out and they pull somebody from a wreck that is burning. And people ask after the fact, they say, you were very courageous. What made you do it? And people say, what do you mean? I was there, somebody was dying, and I got him out of the car. See, it's impossible to not to do it. Once you're there, the people who do this very brave thing, when you ask them, for them was impossible not to help that person. You see what I mean? For the entrepreneur, it's impossible not to see that if you do certain things, it will work. So for the entrepreneur, it's nearly impossible not to take action. And for them, the risk is, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? I'm poor now, I will be poor later, so I may as well do beautifully what I love to do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. What would you say are the top 3 skills needed to be a successful entrepreneur?
Number 1, get a mate. Surround yourself with people who can do beautifully what you hate. Let me repeat this. You have to find people who can do beautifully those things that you hate to do in business. In other words, if you are shy and you hate to go and knock at doors to sell what you make, find yourself a friend who is a people, somebody who loves people, somebody who is absolutely the ultimate extrovert communicator, who doesn't mind to knock at 100 doors. It loves to do that because now you have a wonderful product that is what you love to make, and you have a mate who is absolutely in love with people and loves to have a chat, loves to not knock at doors, and even when people slam the door in their faces, they laugh it off and they go and knock at another door. So if you're shy, get yourself a mate who is not shy. If you don't like to do the books and understand the maths, and you're not precise, and you're not orderly, and your receipts are a mess, and they are in a carton box, don't try to do the books yourself, because you will hate your life. You will hate doing the books. Find someone who loves to do it. And people said to me, but are there people who love to do the books? And I say, yes, absolutely there are people. And there are people in your community right now who are retired, semi-retired. They've been playing golf for the last 5 years. The score has not improved. They're getting bored with golf. They're getting bored with retirement. And if they knew that there were a couple of people who want to start a business, who need help with the books, they would help them. And so I have discovered in the last 30 years of working with entrepreneurs that you should always ask for help. So the number one characteristic of an entrepreneur is someone who asks for help.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Please continue.
And one of the things that I like to do with my audiences, I tell them the story of Richard Branson. And Richard Branson, who is one of the most famous entrepreneurs in the world, he founded Virgin Records and then Virgin Airlines and Virgin Trains in England. So Richard Branson has written his own autobiography, his own story. And in his latest book, he has written describe how he started his first company. So what I do in my classes, I give people the first 2 pages of Richard Branson autobiography, and then I tell them to underline how many times Richard Branson uses the word I, and how many times he uses the word we. He never uses the word I, and he used the word we 32 times. He wasn't alone when he started. Nobody was alone when they started the very successful companies. So not only Richard Branson, but Henry Ford was not alone. Sam Walton was not alone. Edison was not alone. All the greatest entrepreneurs of the world, from Steve Jobs from Apple, he was not alone. Bill Gates was not alone. So what I've discovered when I've done the research on 100 of the greatest companies in the world is that the only thing that they have in common is that none was started by one person. They were always teams. So what I say to the entrepreneurs that I want to help is, who is your mate? Where are your buddies? Who is working with you? And they look at me and say, what are you talking about? It's my idea, it's my company. And I said to them, by yourself, you never make it. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, well, there is no history of any entrepreneur having succeeded alone. They always needed somebody to do beautifully what they couldn't do. And there is no human being in the world who's born who can spend hundreds and thousands of hours developing the product and then can develop hundreds of thousands of hours selling it and hundreds of thousands of hours to look after the money. So you will never be able, even if you had the brain, you will never have the time to do it. But the reality is that entrepreneurship is personality-based, and you need 3 different personalities. You need the person who developed the product or the service, who's often an artist, is somebody who's or a craftsperson, somebody who's very, very good at making the stuff, conceiving the service, and so they spend thousands of hours in solitude developing the product or the service. Then you need to have the communicators. You need to have the people with the personalities to take your product to the market. And those people see the world completely different from the artists. The artist wants to paint the best paintings, and the agent wants to give to the public what the public wants. So the 2 people see the world differently. And business and the financial management Financial management people, they want to sell what makes money, not what you want to paint and not what the public wants. They want you to establish a company that makes money. So these three characters, the product people, the marketing people, and the financial management people, never see the world equally. They never see the world in the same way. And that's why you need three different personalities to run a company.
So three different perspectives.
Absolutely. And three different perspectives, because product people tend to fall in love with the product and they want to sell what they make. But marketing people, they say to the product people, look, the public wants it pink. And the product people say, what do you mean pink? I make it black. I want to sell it black. And they say, sorry, but the public wants it pink. So now, and so it is the marketing people who come back into the workshop with the information from the market. And guess who is right? I mean, the tension between the two is incredible. The tension between the product people and the marketing people is intense. Product people believe that the product has to be beautiful, has to be superb, has to be sublime. And when it will be so fantastic, there will be no need for marketing. But the marketing people say, listen, you can do all the product that you want. If the public doesn't want it, what are you going to do with it? So, it's the two different perspectives. And
Right.
So to run a business, you require three different personalities to work together. And to work together, they have to admire each other, trust each other so much that they are going to compromise. So that nobody is the boss. The boss is the new creature that is basically the baby of these three personalities coming together. And the baby does not look exactly like the product person, does not look exactly like the marketing person, does not look exactly like a financial manager. The baby is a combination, like in a real marriage. In a real marriage, your baby does not look precisely like the father or precisely like the mother. The real baby is a combination of both, is a compromise. And sometimes the compromise for the best, for the better, is a better, sometimes it looks better than the mother, better than the father, is a new specimen. And this is what a good company is. A good company is better looking than the
Creators.
than the creator, is better looking than the marketer, and is better looking than the financial manager, because he's the combination that is a winning combination that is better than the individual parts.
But it is such a great idea, and this makes a lot of sense. But on the other hand, so when you're starting out the company by yourself, and you try to come up with your product, and you work on that product so hard, and right before it hits the market, you try to find the person who will market it for you, or you try to find person who will do who will manage your finances. And is there any tips you can give in order to find those people? Because
Yes. You have to be passionate about your area of expertise. So if you are a product person, you have to be absolutely 100% beautiful at what you do. And your product has to be so good that when then you go to a marketing person to say, listen, I can do this, but I hate marketing. I hate knocking at door. Every time somebody rejects my product, it's like a punch in the stomach. I cannot face rejection. Can you please take my beautiful product to the market? I will never let you down. And if you sell 100 of these, I'm going to make 100 of this. If you sell 1,000, I'm going to make 1,000 of this. I will never let you down because I love to make this stuff. So now the person doing the marketing, when they look at your product, they say, oh my God, this product is fantastic. I can sell thousands of these. But, am I sure that this guy will stick with it. Because if I go out and sell it fast and I come back and the guy says, no, I'm sick of it and I'm not doing it anymore, I will end up burning all my contacts. So how a marketing person becomes satisfied that the product person is serious when they see the commitment. But if they see you are a product guy, and they see you selling badly, clumsily, at the wrong price to the wrong people, your product, they say, what kind of a clown is this guy? He can't sell. He is destroying the market because he's upsetting people. He goes around to tell people that they're idiots because they are not buying his product. I mean, this guy should only be making the product. You see what I mean? So, you know what? The ideal situation for a product person, for a creator, the ideal situation is when somebody comes knocking at your door to say, I love what you do. Can I sell it? You have to become so good at what you do that people will come to you and say, oh my God, may I sell this? Because I know that I can sell it. And that's the ideal world. In the ideal world, people will come to you to say, oh, wow. And look at the story of Apple computer. Look at Steve Jobs and Wozniak. Wozniak was a nerd, the ultimate nerd. He only made computers. But he was so passionate, so good, that Steve Jobs said, oh my God, we can sell this stuff. So the relationship was a phenomenal relationship, even though Steve Jobs then became much more of the product guy himself later on. But it was of the two, between Steve Jobs and Wozniak, Steve Jobs was the one who had a little bit more of a clue about the real world. He was more of the entrepreneur, and Wozniak was more of the nerd, more of the builder of beautiful stuff. And then later on in life, Steve Jobs, if anything, he became even more a fanatical about the product, because he believed that a fantastic product will sell by itself. But you will see that actually market forces, the market always wins, and the market always gets what it wants. Not the producer and not the manufacturer.
Exactly. That's why you see the Microsoft taking 95% of the market share, where they took all the ideas from the Mac or Apple in order to come up with the products. So
yes. So what happens is that the market ultimately the market always wins, because the people out there, they have some needs. And the person who understands the public the best will have the upper hand. And you look at now what's happening in terms of iPhones and Androids. I mean, the people this is a rush to understand what the public really wants and to give the public what it wants. But certainly, an entrepreneur like Steve Jobs was set up a very high bar. He raised the bar in terms of what kind of quality should the public be able to expect from manufacturers. And now, because of Apple, we have products which are so beautiful that the competition had to adapt and change because of the beautiful design of Apple. But look, now they all look like Apple. They all look like iPhones, though, which means that Steve Jobs was right. But because Steve Jobs is not there any longer to interpret what the public wants, now we find out that the development is in a sense, has stopped. The design has been assured by the quality of Apple, and now everybody is copying. I have not seen a round phone. I have not seen a phone that is wearable. I don't see a phone that is as thin as a credit card. I've not seen any development except the Apple design. because everybody else is copying Apple. Sooner or later, we will have another Steve Jobs. We will have another design genius who will come up with something that completely blows all these these phones off the face of the earth. Because if you think about it, it's the most stupid device. You always have to have one hand holding something. And what kind of a stupid thing is that? It means that you cannot operate anything else once you operate the phone. And it's a phone for God's sake, Why should you have, so much of your body, to make a telephone call? And all the other devices are pathetic. And so here we are stuck now for the next, I don't know how many years, holding this bloody thing in our hands, which is not very smart.
Uh-huh. But just a little bit off the subject, but within like next 5 to 10 years, everything is going to be mobile, though, right? This way it's going, though. Like everything is, there is no more real laptops. Everything going to like tablets, or instead of phone, everybody's holding the
but I don't think that we will carry it in our hand. Some entrepreneurs will come up with something that is so much smarter. And maybe some of this adaptation of that glasses, maybe it would be an adaptation of those Google glasses. I don't know. I can't see it as yet because I don't think that everybody wants to carry a computer on their heads. But but I think that we are going to have something which is much more wearable and much more user-friendly. Now it's like having... it is as if every car was manual, had a manual gear shift instead of automatic. I think that when you drive now, you don't even use your arms. But if you drive a manual car, you're always shifting and you're always using your hands, And that's what's happening now with the mobile phone. We carry the mobile phone with us and in our hand. But I think that it's a little bit silly. This discussion can go on forever and ever. But what I want to say to you is basically it requires every company that succeeds has phenomenal products, phenomenal marketing, and superb financial management. No human being can do that because nobody was born with a head to do those three things. So my advice to young entrepreneurs is don't lose sight of your smart friends. Don't go and look for somebody that is like you, that thinks like you, that has the same personality, because those are not going to help you. Why do you want somebody who's identical to you in a business? In business school, they teach you that if you have a partner that always agrees with you, there is a person too many in the company.
I like that. What have been some of your failures and what have you learned from them?
Oh my gosh. All my life has been shaped by what I saw in Africa. We were trying to help the African people, and we would arrive in the African villages from Italy to tell the African people how to live their lives. And we always failed. And I saw 7 years of international failures. Not only we Italians failed in Africa, the French, the American, the Canadians, the English, we all failed in Africa. And the best book for your audience to read is Dead Aid by Dambisa Moyo, who is a Zambian woman economist. The book title is Dead Aid. You should have it on your website. It was published in 2009. And that book describes 50 years, $2 trillion given to the African nation by donor countries. And we have created disaster after disaster after disaster. We have corrupted the leadership. We have created dependency. It's been an absolute unmitigated disaster. So I spent 7 years witnessing and become part of and being involved in creating international disasters. And I never ever again will arrive in a place uninvited to tell the local people what to do, because that's a formula for a disaster. What I've learned is to shut up and listen, to help people do beautifully what they love to do, and to become a helper instead of a boss that will decide what you should be doing and then motivate you and oblige you and push you to do it. I want to be a helper, and I've been a helper of people for the last 30 years, and it's been absolutely fantastic. Is when you start to work with passionate people and you guide them to form good companies, then you see them succeed.
Nice. How do you generate new ideas?
Well, the fact is that for every idea you have in the community, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of new ideas generated by millions of people. So I am not at all concerned with creativity, because as soon as I arrive invited in a community and I tell that I will only ever listen to other people's passion and ideas, the passionate people come and talk to me. So I have never, ever, ever had a problem with creativity, because as soon as you shut up and you listen, you discover what people are thinking. So, for instance, after the TED Talk, I have received thousands of emails from people with ideas saying, can you help me to realize it? So what happens is that ideas are never, ever, ever a problem. Creativity is not a problem. What is a problem is realizing those ideas. I have people who are talking to me about completely new technologies for everything from software to building houses, from renewable energy to to fish farming. I'm bombarded with very, very clever ideas. But what is difficult is to find the team that can surround people who very often are very isolated. So I was in Mongolia 3 weeks ago, a month ago, and just in a day I spoke to 8 entrepreneurs, and they are in the desert, in the Gobi Desert, and each of those entrepreneurs have products that are looking for markets and for marketing people internationally. So I've been, how many fantastic people are there in the world right now with products that can change the earth? But what are they doing? Where are they? Some of them are totally isolated. They work in solitude. They are in a garage. They are in a kitchen. There are, people in developing countries, and they don't even know how to reach out. And my passion is to network these people, so to find people around the world that can help each other. And I'm setting up a group of volunteers, and I call them volunteers, enterprise facilitators. And these are retired people with lots of experience. They want to help. And we are now thinking about constructing these internet-based advisors who you can call and say, look, I have this idea, and how do I move it forward? And it's not with money, but because before you need money, you need the team. You should never go and look for money if you don't have the team in place, because the bankers and the venture capital people will eat you alive if you show up without a team. So what we want to do is create good companies, even if they are small and new, but we want to create good companies with a good team that can make it, sell it, and look after the money. And then we want to send those companies to venture capital or to banks to get the money. Yes, this is, in terms of creativity, that's the least of the problems for me. The problem is organizing the response to so much passion.
Mm-hmm. So when you go out and try to create or come up create your team and to bring your idea into the realization. Um, it takes money to do it, right? To create a team, or you can just give them part of the company, give them a certain percentage of the company,
Well,
or
there are this is a very, very good question. There are many ways of forming a team. We teach our friends, our entrepreneurs, that the very first thing that they should do, they should beg. If they know somebody, the second cousin of theirs is an accountant, just go to see your second cousin, go and see the friend of a friend and say to him, look, I beg you, I have no money, but if you help me to start this, as soon as we make money, you will be part of it. Marketing people, just go and find people who will take your product and sell it on commission. Go and, beg, barter, do anything that you can possibly do, but form a team. You should not try to do this alone. It's too hard. It's impossible. So there are so many things that you can do, and that's where networks are very important. You should join every business club in town. You should speak to everybody about how wonderful your product is, but the fact that you need a team, you need somebody to help you. And people love to help. And that's what we have discovered in the last 30 years, is that as soon as you ask, as soon as you start to tell people, then your chances are amplified, 1 million times. You cannot stay in your workshop waiting to be discovered. You have to tell everybody what you need. And if you need marketing, you should tell everybody, do you know anybody that has been selling, software program? Do you know anybody that has been selling media? Do you know anybody who's been selling whatever it is that you want to make? And you have to really reach out. And if you are shy, find somebody who can reach out for you. Somebody who's a friend of yours who can act as the agent, as the gossip, as the one going to every single party, to every single club to say, I'm working with this guy, it's fantastic, and we are looking for a marketing director. You have to talk, you have to reach out, and if you cannot do it personally, get somebody to help you to reach out, but you have to form the team. You can offer shares. You can do what entrepreneurs do. They have no money very often when they start, but they are passionate and they are prepared to share the profit. They all do that. They always done that.
do you have any good tips how to stop procrastinating and how to stay focused?
Well, the guy who said that he was too lazy to procrastinate. Procrastination sometimes is a defense, sometimes it's because you're not sure. And if you're not sure, you shouldn't go into business. And maybe procrastinating is a way for the world to tell you, just go and get a job. Because, you can't pay the bills and bills are accumulating, and you said that you had this great idea, but you're never going to do it. You're never doing it. So maybe you are waiting for the world to get somebody to knock at your door and to repossess your house and repossess your car. And then you will go and get a job and forget about your idea. Sometimes procrastination is because you are not passionate enough. The word passion comes from the Latin and means to suffer. That's why we call the passion of Christ. The passion of the guy on the cross is the suffering of Christ. So unless you prepare to suffer for your idea, you're not passionate. And that's why passionate people don't procrastinate. They're suffering for it. They're doing it. So if you're not prepared to suffer for it, you should not go into business, because business is hard. Business is so difficult. You cannot, you cannot complain at your boss because you are your boss. You cannot complain at your employee because you are your employee. Small business is hell. And if you're not passionate, why should you do it? Go get a job,
It's easier.
It's so much easier. See, that's why I'm saying that it's like saving somebody who is burning in a burning car. You do it because it's impossible for you not to. In other words, if you see somebody burning alive, you cannot stop yourself from going there and get this person out of the car. It's an impossibility, see? That's what is to go into business. It is impossible for you not to do it because your life will be not worth anything if you have this burning passion. It's like a musician who doesn't play music, he's going to kill you. So if you're serious about it, about your life, you're going to do it. But my point is, don't do it alone, because passion in isolation is very is very dangerous. Passion, people say, if you're passionate, you will succeed. Rubbish. If you're passionate, when you fail, you kill yourself. You commit suicide, because passionate people are totally vested in what they're doing. And if it fails, they kill themselves.
They will take it as the end of the world, huh?
Yeah, that's why you need a team of people surrounding you who say, okay, well, tomorrow we try another approach. Because the team gives you strength and keeps you centered and keeps you sane and gives you the skills. Otherwise, you are like a painter who has beautiful paintings and nobody's buying them. What happened to Van Gogh? What happened to Van Gogh when he killed himself? Because he was painting, he knew that the paintings were gorgeous, but nobody ever bought a single painting. So imagine if Van Gogh had an agent. And imagine if Van Gogh had an agent who will not even be telling him how he was selling the paintings. Because the agent was maybe a rich woman who would sell the paintings to a friend because the painting matched the color of the couch. But don't tell Van Gogh that the painting sold because he matches the couch. Because Van Gogh would have been so, miserable to say, what? I'm a great artist and you're selling the painting because they match the color of the couch? But who cares? The agent is there to make you money. So who cares why and how they sell your paintings? You see what I mean?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It makes a lot of sense.
So be a Van Gogh. Produce wonderful work, but make sure that you have an agent who will go out there and sell your stuff so that you can make a living.
That's so true. It makes a lot of sense. Mr. Ernesto, so then before we wrap this up, I would like to give us to our listeners the action points where they can take tangible action to improve their lives and bring them closer to entrepreneurship or take them farther wherever they started.
Start if you are a product person or you have invented a different thing to sell and you don't have a marketing buddy, your first commitment, your first actionable thing is to start to tell everybody in your family, among your friends, I need a marketing director. And call it a marketing director, no matter whether you're looking for somebody who's 20 years old or I don't care. You say, I need a marketing director for my product. And so the first actionable thing is to start to tell everybody. You go on your Facebook, you go on your Twitter, you go on your social website, and you say, I'm looking for a marketing director for my new whatever it is. First thing. Second thing, as soon as you have a marketing person, you have to go and look for a financial manager. It can be somebody who's studying accounting at the university. It could be a second cousin. It could be a friend of a friend. It could be the accountant from the Rotary Club, from a church club, from a sport club. from a youth center. I don't care where you're going to find this accountant. Make sure that you go and find somebody who's maybe retired, and go on your knees and beg them to help you. This is actionable. You have to form your team. Give yourself a deadline. Say, by the end of this year, I have to have my team in place. And your life will change. If you're a marketing person and you don't have a product, look around for some of the smartest nerds, some of the smartest people who have come up with some good products. Introduce yourself. If you see a product that is badly advertised, call the people to say, you have a wonderful product, but your marketing sucks. May I help you? I love your product so much that I'm going to do it on a commission basis. Grab hold. Don't hesitate because marketing people are shameless and they are very good communicators. You look for the product that you want, and then you introduce yourself. You cold call to say, I've seen your product. I love it. May I represent you? So marketing people, you can be absolutely shameless and go out there, find the product that you like, and see whether you can start to represent that product. Maybe on a commission basis, doesn't matter. Just go and grab and get it. If you are a listener who is an accountant, well, you are the luckiest man in the world or the luckiest woman in the world, because you guys, you can represent 200 people. You can represent 100 companies. You know, for you, if it becomes easy for you to do books, it's so easy for you to find clients because people are desperate. And you can show them how you can save them money, because now they're paying too much taxes. They don't know what they're doing. They are wasting money. They don't chase payments. It's very, very difficult for people without accountants and bookkeepers. So, you know, the world is your oysters. Just go and get it.
Thank you so much. It was very informative, very inspiring, and I thank you a lot for your time, Mr. Ernesto.
Okay, make sure that you, on your website, you put also our website, www.sirolli.com, and we have a Twitter account at Sirolli Institute, or Ernesto Sirolli on Twitter. Get people to be able to find me if they need me, okay?
Please. So one more time, they can find you. What was your website name again? I'm going to put on the website link as well.
It is Sirolli.com, SIROLL.com, Sirolli.com. And they can look at Sirolli Institute on Facebook. And they can look on Twitter at Sirolli Institute or Ernesto Sirolli, and they will find me.
And I will make sure it will be linked up to the on the website as well.
To the TED Talk.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then,
one more thing. Yes.
Yes.
I want to let all the listeners know that the TED Talk that you presented, it was awesome and very informative, very inspiring, and a lot of followers. Is getting the big responses around the world, and yes. I think it will continue to accumulate as a snowball.
Thanks, Dan. It was lovely talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's a snowball, and we'll reach out many more people, some of them not yet born. Thank you again for generous time. And if you guys want to find out more interviews like this, go to entrepreneurmindpodcast.com.